Namaste. Welcome to the Indian Knowledge Systems primer course for children. In this session, we will be looking at the Shadrasa framework in Ayurveda. The definition of rasa is ra means to relish or to taste and sa means the juice, the sap or the secretion. Rasa is the taste associated with the secretions in the tongue. Typically, once a substance touches the tongue, the first experience of the taste is called as rasa. So that said, how many different tastes can there be? We are usually well known, we can easily identify there is a sweet taste, sour taste, and there are things that are very spicy to us. So the legend has it that once Maharishi Punarvasu Atreya conducted a discussion among great scholars and devised a method to group these different tastes into 6 broader groups. The logic behind arriving at the Shadrasa framework is that the tongue as an organ of perception is capable of perceiving 6 different tastes invariable of the different substances it comes in touch with. The taste or the rasa affects the physical and mental well-being of an individual. At the same time, rasa invokes a strong emotional connection as well. How fondly do we remember the kheer or the payasam our mother makes during our birthdays? It's like that. And the Shadrasa framework is a very unique concept in Ayurveda as well. Let's try to understand what are all the 6 tastes that are mentioned. Number 1, Madhura or sweet. A good example for Madhura, as you can see on the screen, is that of a ripe banana. Second is that of Amla or sour taste. A seasonal raw mango invokes that sour taste in the tongue. Third is Lavana or salt. The rock salt that we have, or even the palak, the spinach that we eat, are all very high in the Lavana rasa. Fourth is the Katu or the pungent taste. The chilies that we taste, which are very spicy. Fifth is the Tikta or the bitter taste. Classical example of bitter taste is the Karela or bitter gourd. Sixth is Kashaya or astringent. Pomegranate is another example for Kashaya. One of the Brihatrayi text, Ashtanga Hridayam in Ayurveda, enumerates the Shad rasas in this particular verse. Let's try to chant it. Rasa swadvam lalavana tiktoshana kashaya kaha. The 6 tastes that are mentioned in this sutra are Swadhu, which is Madhura or sweet, Amla, which is sour, Lavana, which is salty, Tikta, which is bitter, Ushana, which is Katu or pungent, Kashaya, which is astringent. All these foods have one or more of these tastes and they combine in various diversified forms to create very different flavors. It's important to know that all these rasa identification is useful for maintaining good health and a balanced dosha. We generally think that identification of all these tastes is only for sensory enjoyment. Needn't be so. The science of Ayurveda specifically mentions the Shadrasa framework as a means to maintain good health and a balanced dosha constitution. Let's now dive deep into the Madhura rasa or the sweet taste. Madhura is majorly made of the Jala Tattva and the Prithvi Tattva, which is the water and the earth element. Madhura means sweet or pleasing. It appeals to all ages. Who doesn't like a sweet dish? It comes from sugars and carbohydrates. It is related to strength and stability of a body. If you see the constitution of Madhura rasa, which is the Jala and the Prithvi Tattva, we can identify that it is also equivalent to the Kapha dosha Prakriti. Hence, we can understand that when had in excess, the Madhura rasa will aggravate the Kapha dosha. At the same time, it will balance the Vata and the Pitta dosha. How often have we seen young children catch cold because they have had too many sweets? It's simply because of the constitution of the Madhura rasa that the kapha gets activated and hence they catch cold. These rasas also have an effect on the emotions like we had mentioned earlier. For example, here in Madhura rasa, when had in excess, it invokes the quality of greed and possessiveness, while had in moderation, it invokes love and compassion. This is a small infographic which sort of explains what doshas get aggravated and which ones get balanced out. Let's try to understand what are all the few benefits of Madhura rasa. Overall, it energizes and nourishes the body and mind. It promotes wound healing. It generally has a cooling effect because of the water element, and it improves the voice quality. It overall also has a calming effect on the mind. Well, that said, an excessive consumption of Madhura rasa definitely leads to reduced digestion and reduced hunger. It also leads to laziness and sleepiness. One can very easily intuitively understand why this is bound to happen, because the Madhura rasa's constitution is such that it has a strong kapha constitution, and the quality of kapha is usually heavy, and hence the digestion becomes very low, and hence the hunger also gets reduced. Let us now try to understand foods that have Madhura rasa. It's quite easy to identify them because these are very strongly sweet and it is easily identifiable. Some fruits such as ripe bananas, melons, dates, figs and mangoes are high in Madhura rasa. Vegetables such as beetroot, sweet potatoes and cucumbers. Cucumbers especially, if you have had, it gives a very good cooling effect. One can intuitively understand it is because of the kapha prakriti mentioned in the kapha prakriti that constitutes the Madhura rasa that cucumber gives that cooling effect. Grains such as rice, corn, wheat and barley are all high in Madhura rasa. Legumes such as chickpeas and moong dal, especially moong dal ka pani is it's a household remedy if you have high pitta or if you have mouth ulcers because of the aggravated pitta dosha. That's generally because the sweetness or the kapha constitution sort of alleviates the aggravated pitta. Dairy and other products such as milk, ghee and honey are all high in Madhura rasa. Nuts and seeds such as almonds, coconut and cashew nuts are also good sources of Madhura rasa. Spices such as cardamom, nutmeg, saffron, vanilla, cinnamon, all of these are good examples of Madhura rasa. Let's move on to the second rasa, which is the Amla rasa or the sour taste. Amla rasa is constituted by fire or the Agni and earth or the Prithvi elements. It indicates sour taste. It causes the face to pucker and eyes to shut tight. Have you ever seen a baby or a toddler try lime for the first time? Oh, it's a sight to see. There are various acids in the food. These form the sour taste in that particular food. It has to become usually had in moderation. It helps in maintaining the temperature and the heat in the body. When consumed in excess, it usually leads to a lot of dryness and dehydration. One can easily understand through the constitution of Amla rasa, which is the fire and the earth element, that excess consumption will definitely aggravate the pitta and the kapha dosha, while at the same time it will balance the vata dosha. On moderate consumption, it leads to appreciation and understanding emotions, while at the same time, if consumed in excess, it leads to sharp criticism, hate, jealousy and selfishness. Here are some benefits of Amla rasa. It supports digestion, it increases the liver function, it stimulates saliva secretion. Have you tried having a raw mango? It definitely does that. Some common remedies such as buttermilk, lime juice and citron are all examples of Amla rasa. Excessive consumption causes mouth dryness, itching and excessive thirst because it aggravates the Pitta dosha. Some classic foods which are high in Amla rasa includes cheese, sour cream, curd, some fermented foods, all citrus fruits such as grapes, lemon, orange, and some vegetables such as unripe mangoes and tomato. Moving on to the third rasa, which is the Lavana rasa or the salty taste. The constituent of Lavana rasa is Agni Tattva and the Jala Tattva, which is fire and water. It means salty. It is very important for palatability and electrolyte balance in the body. It strengthens the muscle, but when it had in excess, it also gives a sense of bloating and retains a lot of water. One can again understand by the constitution of the Lavana rasa that it will aggravate the kapha and the pitta dosha, while at the same time it will balance the vata dosha. Sometimes if had in excess, it also aggravates the vata dosha. Generally, when had in moderate consumption, it imbibes courage and enthusiasm. At the same time, excess consumption leads to greed and possessiveness. Few benefits of Lavana rasa include it increases salivation, which is important for digestion. It supports digestion. Have you always heard the saying, when you have ghee, it is important that you add a bit of salt with it, because ghee is a heavy item. It's kapha prakriti. It's a kapha dosha dominant food and it's heavy. A good amount of salt helps in digestion of the heavy item. It moistens the body because it retains water. Excess consumption causes water retention and thickening of blood. Some examples of Lavana rasa include seaweed and spinach in vegetables. Dairy products such as paneer and cheese are also good in Lavana rasa. Spices such as rock salt, black salt, sea salt, all of these are good examples of Lavana rasa. Fourth is the Katu rasa or the pungent taste. The constituents of Katu rasa are the fire or the Agni and the air element. It's found in spicy vegetables and herbs. It comes from volatile oils. As an intuitive feel, one can understand because of the fire and the air element, it will definitely aggravate the vata dosha and the pitta dosha. But at the same time, it will balance the kapha dosha. There are some exceptions to this, which are ginger, garlic and fennel seeds. When had in excessive quantity, one can understand what a spicy food can do. It definitely causes somebody to get angry and aggressive. While had in moderate consumption, it invokes vigor and enthusiasm. Some benefits of Katu rasa include same, it aids in digestion, it promotes sweating. Sweat is one of the malas and it helps in removal of sweat. It clears sinuses, it absorbs the nutrients and kills the germ. It's a good disinfectant. But excessive consumption leads to choking, diarrhea, peptic ulcer, skin disorders and muscle pain. Some examples include onion, garlic, sarson ki saag, the mustard greens which are very famous in North India, chilies and ginger. All sort of spices, pepper, clove, red chili, asafoetida, fennel, all of these are good examples of Katu rasa. Fifth is the Tikta rasa or the bitter taste. Tikta rasa is made up of ether or the akasha element and air, that is the vayu element. It is not liked by all, especially children. One can only think about bitter gourd. There are people who have hated it all their life. But it's important to have that rasa in one's life as well. Have you heard of Ugadi Pachadi? It's a good example of the Shadrasa framework because it has all the Shadrasas included in it. The Tikta rasa example in Ugadi Pachadi is that of neem flowers. Young tender neem flowers are put in the pachadi so that people enjoy the taste of all the 6 flavors. Tikta rasa generally has a cooling tendency. It balances the pitta and the kapha dosha, but it definitely aggravates the vata dosha because it has the vayu element. Excessive consumption leads to depression and loneliness, while in moderate consumption, it leads to clarity and self-awareness. Some benefits of Tikta rasa includes it cleanses the digestive system. It also relieves skin problems, it tones the skin and the muscles. Similarly, it stimulates the nervous system and it cools the body down. Excessive consumption of Tikta rasa although leads to extreme coldness and dry mouth, it also leads to depression and giddiness. Foods that are examples of Tikta rasa include bitter gourd, of course. Next comes turkey berry, or very famously known as sundakai in southern part of India. This is the picture of sundakai. It's a well-known vegetable here and it's very useful for maintaining and alleviating heart conditions. Aloe vera and some varieties of greens, all of these are vegetables that come under Tikta rasa. Herbs such as turmeric is a good example of Tikta rasa. Methi or fenugreek, sesame seeds and coffee are all example of Tikta rasa again. Spices such as saffron and til seeds are also examples of Tikta rasa. If you see, saffron also came as an example in Madhura rasa. Coming to the sixth rasa or the last one is the Kashaya rasa, that is the astringent taste. Kashaya is made up of Prithvi, the earth element, and air, the Vayu element. It is found in tannin rich foods. Have you heard of do you know what is tannin? Tannin is that protective protein coat that is usually seen in any hard nuts such as almonds, walnuts, etc. That's why it's always advised to soak the nuts overnight, peel off and then have them, because the tannin is not a digestible thing by the stomach. Kashaya rasa leads to drying of the mouth. It leaves a chalky feeling. Looking at the constituent, one can understand that it will definitely aggravate the vata dosha while it will balance or maintain the pitta and the kapha dosha. Excessive consumption leads to fear, nervousness and harshness, while moderate consumption leads to stability and groundedness. Some benefits of Kashaya rasa includes absorption of excess moisture. It clots the blood, it tones the muscles and skin. One can understand toning of the muscle usually happens if you don't retain too much of moisture, and the constituents are such that the moisture is drawn away. What happens on a windy day? The moisture on the skin gets swept away with the wind. So it's like that. It binds the stools. It's very helpful in diarrhea, containing diarrhea. It cleanses the mucous membrane and it eliminates waste and cools the body down. Excessive consumption although leads to muscle and joint discomfort. Why? Because it causes a certain amount of dryness, slowed blood circulation and reproductive system issues. Here are some examples of Kashaya rasa. This is the amaranth seeds. This is cinnamon. Let's try to see some more examples for Kashaya rasa. Vegetables such as cabbage, cauliflower, potato, green beans, avocado, lady's finger, all of these are examples of Kashaya rasa. We have already seen that pomegranate, unripe bananas, unripe jackfruit and pears are also examples of Kashaya rasa. Grains such as amaranth, wheat, sorghum are examples. Legumes include butter beans, soya beans, chickpeas and tur dal. Some nuts include walnut. Spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, green tea and rose petals are again examples of Kashaya rasa. Dairy products, specifically ghee water, is an example of Kashaya rasa. Let's try to understand overall what is the impact of rasa on dosha. Here is a listing of all the shad rasas and what is the Panchabhuta constitution of these shad rasas and how do they affect the three doshas. Let's try to understand one by one. It's more of a summary or a revision. We have seen it in individually. Now we will try to see it together. The Madhura rasa constitutes the earth and the water element, and hence it will definitely leads to aggravation of kapha while it balances the vata and the pitta. Amla rasa, if you see, is a constituent, has earth and fire as its constituent element, and hence it aggravates the pitta and the kapha dosha while it alleviates the vata dosha. Let's also try to just quickly revise what is vata made of. Vata is air and ether, or akasha and vayu, and hence if there is no akasha or vayu here anywhere, it will definitely leads to balancing or reduction of the vata dosha. Lavana rasa is constituted with water and the fire element. If you see, water is a constituting element in the kapha dosha, and hence Lavana rasa aggravates the kapha dosha. Similarly, fire is a constituting element in pitta dosha, and hence Lavana rasa aggravates the pitta dosha. Neither of this is a constituting element in the vata dosha, and hence it balances or reduces the vata dosha. The Katu rasa is made of air and fire element. So, one can easily map that it will aggravate the vata dosha, it will aggravate the pitta dosha, while it will have little or no effect or reduced effect in the kapha dosha. Kashaya is made of air and earth element, hence it increases the vata dosha while it balances or alleviates the kapha and the pitta dosha. Tikta is made of air and ether, hence vata again is aggravated while pitta and kapha are alleviated. It's a standard practice among Ayurvedic practitioners to recommend a combination of different rasas to balance the dosha. Few examples that we have already seen in the session include moong dal ka pani to alleviate the pitta dosha, or having ghee at the right time to alleviate the pitta dosha, or having some pepper, some concoction made of peppercorns to alleviate the kapha dosha. These are simple home remedies or practices that can be used from the rasa framework, identifying them from the rasa framework, and then can be used as home remedies. Balancing the doshas through an understanding from the Shadrasa framework improves overall health and well-being. This session on the Shadrasa framework has definitely opened our eyes to the understanding that food is just not about the taste, but the rasas in the food has a direct impact on the dosha and hence on the overall health and well-being of the body and mind. Thank you.